What's up? What's up? Today we are falling in love. That's right, you and I. We're going to be going over the 36 questions that lead to love. If you haven't heard about this, there's an article that was written by psychologists where they go over questions that supposedly lead to love. And there's 36 of them. They're meant to be really methodical, and you're supposed to spend your time on each question with the person that you're doing it with. To save on time, we're gonna do a little speed round on this and see if it works. By the end of this, you should be in love with me. So the first question is, given the choice of anyone in the world, whom would you want to have as a dinner guest? I watched a documentary about Audrey Hepburn on Netflix recently. I'd love to ask her questions and pick her brain apart. She did a lot of humanitarian work. She was just a really awesome person. Would you like to be famous? In what way? Yes and no. I would want to still have a normal life, but I feel like being famous broadens your opportunities in many ways as well. So maybe I could do something like Sia, where people don't see my face, so I can still live a normal life, but I still get the perks of being famous. You know what I mean? Before making a telephone call, do you ever rehearse what you're going to say? Why? I would do that at work when I worked at Wells Fargo, but typically I don't, because usually I'm just calling like a friend or family member. What would you constitute as a perfect day? When I think of the perfect day, I think of Christmas or Thanksgiving, like just spending a bunch of time with family, eating super good food. Yeah, I'd love to do that with family and a significant other. When did you last sing to yourself and to someone else? I sang to myself in the car earlier today. So sometimes if there's a good bop that comes on, I definitely sing in the car. Last time I sang to someone else, there's somebody that I talk to in Utah a lot, and sometimes we'll just sing to each other. Sometimes he'll start singing and I just join in, and it's not common, but it happens. If you were able to live to the age of 90 and retain either the mind or body of a 30-year-old for the last 60 years of your life, which would you want? I would want to have the body of a 30-year-old. Maybe that sounds superficial, but you become wiser and often smarter as you get older. Not always. I mean, there's definitely a decline as you get really older, but 30, that's kind of short. So I would do the body of a 30-year-old. Do you have a secret hunch about how you will die? Whoa, we're going dark. I don't have a hunch about how I'll die. If I were to guess, if I had a premature death, maybe it could be car accident related, just because statistically that's my highest probability. And I'm kind of a night owl, so I spend a lot of time out at night when there's probably more drunk drivers and whatnot. I don't know. Name 3 things you and your partner appear to have in common. So this is when it's gonna get a little tough, since I don't know each of you individually. Let's see, what are some things that we all have in common? I think if you're watching this video, you probably all have an appreciation for YouTube, which is true for me as well. I follow 2 YouTubers religiously, Mark Miller and Colleen Ballinger, who's also Miranda Sings. She's pregnant with twins right now, and I just think her life is so fun. So I love keeping up with her videos. Another thing we have in common, a lot of people that watch my channel are LGBTQ. Not all of you guys, but a lot of you guys. And according to my demographics, 90% of you are also male, so that's something else that we have in common, that I have in common with most of you. What in your life do you feel most grateful? I would just say lasting relationships, honestly, because whether it's friends or family, there's just some people that you know are going to be a big part of your life for a long time. And it means a lot to have that consistency. If you could change anything about the way you were raised, what would it be? I feel very fortunate for the way I was raised in many ways. But if I were to change something, I did have kind of a sheltered childhood. And I know that it was only because, my parents wanted to protect me and whatnot. But I also wish I could have experienced more, maybe? I don't know. Maybe just had a little bit more freedom. But that's me being nitpicky. I had a very good childhood. Take 4 minutes and tell your partner your life story in as much detail as possible. So I'm not going to take 4 minutes on this one.
So I was raised mostly in Utah. I was born into a family that's very religious. We moved to California when I was 10. And this was a very significant time in my life because I had to learn to make new friends, and I really missed my old friends. 3 years later, we moved back to Utah, and this was also a big, part of my growing up. I just learned to appreciate the friendships that I had. And I also learned that some of the friendships that I had before I left weren't there when I came back because we had grown up and changed so much, because it was during the time of puberty and there's a lot of changes happening. It was hard to let go of some of those friendships and realize that we had grown apart and be okay with it. Let's see, I graduated high school. I went on a mission for the church. This was also a big growing up time in my life. My first time being away from friends and family and trying to be a part of something bigger than myself. And then I came back. I tried dating women while going to school, and it wasn't working out. I came to terms with my sexuality, found a really nice boy who I loved, and eventually realized after 2.5 to 3 years of dating that we just had so many different things that we wanted out of life. And it was so much of a difference that we weren't a good match. It was very difficult, but it was for the best. And I learned a lot about myself in the process. And that basically leads us to where we are.
If you could wake up tomorrow having gained any one quality or ability, what would it be? I've always thought it would be really cool to be able to read minds. Although sometimes it might be frustrating knowing what people thought if you didn't like their opinions. So maybe I would want to be able to read minds, but I'd want to be able to turn it off when I wanted to. If a crystal ball could tell you the truth about yourself, your life, or the future, or anything else, what would you want to know? Oh man. Did Jeffrey Epstein kill himself? That would be my question. I'm sure there's something more profound I should probably be thinking of, but that's what we're going with. Is there something you've dreamed of doing for a long time? Why haven't you done it? I've wanted to go to Singapore for a long time. I just haven't gotten around to it yet. Obviously, trips like that cost money and you need to get a fun group together, but I'm sure I'll do it. It's definitely on the bucket list. What is the greatest accomplishment of your life? This one's kind of shared between coming out, because I feel like that was a very difficult thing to do, and I'm very proud of myself for having the courage to do it. But also going on a mission, I still view as a huge accomplishment. Just because you're leaving your family, you're leaving your friends for 2 years to go to a place you've never been to spend 24 hours a day with someone you've never met, and try to talk to people about God and do community service. Honestly, it's probably the most selfless thing I've ever done in my life. What do you value most in a friendship? Let's see, I really value loyalty and quality time in a friendship. I feel like you're important to someone when you decide to give them your time and they decide to give you their time. That's when it's a real friendship. What's your most treasured memory? Probably when I came out to my sister Amy. I remember it perfectly. We were at a Zupa's, surrounded by people. And after I told her, she told me that she not only loved me, but was going to love whoever I loved. And it hit me so hard. And we were just bawling our eyes out, surrounded by all these people just trying to have their Zupas in peace. It was just such a special moment. And it was something that I'll never forget and always be so grateful for. What's your most terrible memory? We're getting really deep. So my most terrible memory was actually, if you've seen my coming out video, you already have heard a lot of this story, but there was someone that I went on some dates with and then tried to end things with, and then it became kind of a dangerous situation for me and my family. And if you haven't seen my coming out video, it's in there, but it's just a very long story. But yeah, it was not a good situation and very scary. If you knew that in 1 year you would die suddenly, would you change anything about the way you are living now? Why? Yeah, I would guess most people would change their way they're living if they knew they were gonna die in a year, myself included. I think I'd be better about living in the moment. I think I would be more kind and more patient and spend more time with the people that I love. Things like that. What does friendship mean to you? So I kind of talked about this in a little bit earlier. I feel like friendship to me means giving up your time to someone you want to be with and supporting each other however you can. What roles do love and affection play in your life? I mean, love means, how do you say how much that means? It means so much. I don't know how else to say it. It gives you like a purpose and meaning for living. So it's a big deal. It's a very big deal. Alternate sharing something you consider a positive characteristic of your partner. Share a total of 5 items. Okay, so we can't really do this one. I will say something that I appreciate about you guys. I've read, I would say, 98% of the comments that people have made on my videos. I really try to read every single one. And I'm just blown away by the fact that people are so interested in my life and expect nothing in return. Honestly, it surprises me every time I post a video. How close and warm is your family? Do you feel your childhood was happier than most other people's? Yeah, I would say my childhood was probably happier than most people's. I mean, obviously I had my struggles, but I was very lucky in many ways. And I feel like my family is pretty close. I love all of my family members. I'm not always good about keeping in touch, but there's definitely, some siblings that I keep in touch with better than others. How do you feel about your relationship with your mother? Honestly, the only time that my mother and I have had a strenuous relationship was shortly after me coming out, and it didn't last for very long. It helped when she accepted the fact that I am gay. People in the church that I grew up in believe that you can be with your family for forever. And when somebody says something like they're gay and that they're dating someone of the same gender, it really puts into question what eternity looks like at that point. Will they be with that family member for forever? My mom once told me that she doesn't know what life after death looks like, but she's just going to appreciate every moment that she has with me. And that's really what you can do in this world. None of us know what comes after death. And that's why it's so important to just love and appreciate the time that you have with the people that you love. So yes, I would say we have a very good relationship. We talk to each other almost every week. Make 3 true we statements each. For instance, we are both in this room feeling ... Okay, this is gonna be another hard one. We both deserve love and respect. Hey guys, this is Joe editing the video. I somehow missed question 26, so I'm gonna answer that now. It's complete this sentence. I wish I had someone with whom I could share ... I feel like the obvious answer to this is I would love someone I could share life with, like a life partner. But another one that came to mind though is I wish I had someone with whom I could share a career with. I think it would be awesome to have a partner in my photography and videography career. If you were going to become a close friend with your partner, please share what would be important for him or her to know. I think it's important for me in early friendships to establish that I'm not a great messenger. If you want to connect with me, let's get together, or you can call me over the phone. All right, tell your partner what you like about them. Be very honest this time, saying things that you might not say to someone that you've just met. I like that sometimes you guys share a bit of your own experiences that relate to mine in comments. I feel like it's a great way to connect with you guys and feel like I'm actually getting to know you guys. There's some of you that comment on almost every video, and I feel like I actually know you, even though we've never met. Share with your partner an embarrassing moment in your life. So when I was in high school, for lunches, I would always go with my friends out to lunch somewhere off campus. And one day I went and jumped in my friend's car and I realized it was not my friend's car. But it was the same model and it was parked always where my friend was. So I hopped in the back seat and 2 people that I don't know at all turned around and looked at me. And I didn't say anything. I literally just got out of the car and walked away. It was bad, guys. It was really bad. When did you last cry in front of another person and by yourself? Most recent time I cried in front of another person, I cried over the phone to somebody, but I'd say the last time I cried to someone in person was when I was in the ER, just because I was in a lot of pain and worried about a lot of things. And anytime I'm around family, I'll cry. Typically, I don't cry. It's very, very rare that I'll ever cry in front of friends or anytime that I'm not with family. You guys are gonna laugh at this. The last time I cried by myself, I was watching a show called Modern Love, and it was just a very emotional moment that I felt was kind of relatable. and so I had a good little cry. All right, tell your partner something that you like about them already. When I'm happy or sad or venting, you guys listen. And it's honestly, it's so nice. What, if anything, is too serious to be joked about? I watched a comedy skit that was hard to laugh at, where they spent most of the time joking about abortions, which I know, like, a lot of people find like abortion jokes funny, but I just have the hardest time thinking that they're funny. I don't know. I don't like them. If you were to die this evening with no opportunity to communicate with anyone, what would you most regret not having told someone? And why haven't you told them yet? I had an experience once where I was worried about my safety, and one of my first thoughts was I wanted to like call my parents and apologize for any pain I'd caused them and tell them that I loved them. Your house containing everything you own catches fire. After saving your loved ones and pets, you have time to safely make a final dash to save any one item. What would it be and why? They probably want a more sentimental answer, but honestly I would grab my camera bag because it just has so much expensive equipment and it is my career and livelihood, so it's like a very important bag for me. Of all the people in your family, whose death would you find most disturbing and why? Oh man, probably one of my nieces or nephews. It would just be so hard to hear about, like someone who's so young, their life cut short, and like what potential they had and whatnot. That would probably be the hardest for me and my family. Share a personal problem and ask your partner's advice on he or she might handle it. Also ask your partner to reflect back to you how you seem to be feeling about the problem you have chosen. Interesting. So, okay, I guess I'll explain a problem in my life and then you guys can tell me in the comments how maybe I should handle it. Life honestly is good in so many ways, but if I were thinking about some of the things that I worry the most about, all of my brothers and sisters, parents, nieces and nephews, grandparents, everyone's in Utah, and part of me thinks like life is too short and I need to be like living near them. But also part of me thinks I worked so hard in Austin to build clientele, to expand my videography, and I would have to start from square one if I moved back to Utah. And I have a lot of people that mean a lot to me here in Austin. And so sometimes I struggle back and forth on like where I should be living. So I don't know. If you guys have any thoughts about that or advice, feel free to leave it in the comments. But that's it. We did it. So now we're officially in love, right? That's how this works. But spoiler alert, I already love you guys. And I'm so grateful for all of the support that you guys constantly give to me and my channel. So I appreciate it. Stay tuned. I've been thinking I'm gonna make a video soon about some of my recent dating adventures and some of the worst dates I've ever been on because I feel like it would make for a fun video. So I'm sure that'll pop up sometime soon. But in the meantime, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you guys soon.